Grace, will you tell us a little bit about yourself before I start to not properly introduce you?
That's okay. My name is Grace. I'm the face behind Grace Miah Artistry. I'm married with a little daughter, and I'm also studying to become a social worker as well. I from Ghana, and I moved to Canada about say 16 years ago. I'm a I would call myself a definite product of a diaspora, like too too away to be home and too not so, too like I don't fit in back home and I don't fit in here so much, but you make the best
What?
of
Why
both
is that?
worlds. Well, that's the whole thing, right? When you move away from, let's say, well, I'm from Ghana, so when you move away from home and you go back, you're seen as the outsider, the lady
Mhm.
abroad, right? And when you're here, you're also seen as the outsider, the person from Africa, as people like to internalize it. So you don't really fit in anywhere, but you make the best of it, right? So product for the diaspora. Right now, enjoying COVID to, as much as I can.
You're the first
um,
person who say you're enjoying COVID, and
um,
you might want to share a little bit about why you're enjoying COVID.
Well, let me put it this way: you gotta make the best of every situation that you get into, right? So, you're enjoying life, you're going about your day, you are postponing things, and then boom, everybody stay home. You can either pout about it or make the best of it. So with me, I guess with COVID, one good product that came out of it is I had a baby. Yay,
Nice,
COVID.
yeah, COVID baby.
Yes,
Oh,
had a COVID
Grace,
baby.
first, I forgot to do this, and
Okay.
I just want to say to as first I want to say I really appreciate your husband for allowing you some time during this COVID moment to spend with us because these COVID moments are very very precious, right?
Yeah.
And I just want to say thanks to your husband for just allowing you to not that you're like
No,
bonded, but
no.
just for sharing this. This is like prime time, right? 8
Yeah.
8:30, young baby, new husband
Family
within
time.
exactly. So thank you, hubby.
I'll let him know. But yeah, those are I guess, the good part about COVID, that a lot of people just seem to talk about the negative side of it. Oh, COVID this, blah, blah, blah. But when you look at the positive side of it, people get to, create in secret, and then you never know what people are going to be popping out when everything goes down. So it gives you a chance to kind of recollect. I mean, before COVID, a lot of people were just talking about, we need a break, I need a break, I need a break. Well, here's your break. What are you going to
That's
do with that
absolutely
break?
correct.
Right? So,
You're so right
yeah.
about that. Let's talk about Ghana a little bit before because I know by now most people who are viewing will realize that Grace is a great artist, and judging from the piece that's behind her, that's her one of her pieces. Oh well, hello there, Mrs. Laura. How you doing? We can share a story or two maybe later. So let's talk a little bit about Ghana and your
Hmm.
background because I gotta tell you something. Me being from Barbados,
Hmm.
I gotta say for me personally, this may not relate to many other people. Ghana is the country in Africa that I relate a little bit more closer to. I
Okay.
feel. I'm
Okay.
not sure where my original people are from, besides they're from Africa, but Ghana is the place that from I listened to some of the things that the dialogue and stuff, and
Hmm.
it seems very familiar.
Okay.
Even some of the words that you guys pronounce, the
Okay.
pronunciation,
Okay.
it seems very familiar. But yeah, I just want to take that off my chest.
Ah, I'm glad you got that off your chest.
So where in Ghana are you from?
um, I'm from um, I'm from the coastal area, so I'm from the western part of Ghana. I'm from what we will call Nzima.
In Zima,
Yes,
and that's the name of the city, town,
yes,
village.
yes, village.
Okay, cool. No, that's beautiful.
A lot of people,
Oh,
when you say Ghana, they say Accra. I lived in Accra, but I'm from Nzima.
cool, cool. I mean, I'm not familiar with all of all the cities and so forth. Just people. Most of the time when I speak with people from Ghana, they just usually just say I'm from Ghana, right?
Hmm.
And usually I get a story about Ashantis.
Yes.
So, do you have any Ashanti stories?
One of the greatest warriors that a lot of people from the Ashanti tribe will talk about is well, actually, this painting is after her. Actually, she's called Yasantua. And during the time where the British were were colonizing Ghana and they were enslaving people, the men actually backed up because they were scared for their lives. But Yasantua actually stood up, gathered a few other women, and went to go fight the Brits. And through that, she was actually captured and shipped up to Seychelles, I believe. And
Oh,
so today she's named one of the greatest warriors because when the men from her tribe stood back, she stood forward and called in a few other women, and they fought even to their death.
wow.
So yeah,
Now, that's a
Ashantis
great
love
woman.
talking about that story.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's a great woman. You know what I mean?
Yep,
Now, did she manage to gather like guys to fight, or did she?
women.
Women.
Yes.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful story. People got to share that some more. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Get that
when they
out
get the
there.
chance, they do.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, so we talk about you're from Zima and
Indeed.
in Zimna and the Princess Warrior. What's her name again? So people can
Yeah,
know again.
Santua. Yeah, Santua.
Yes, Antwa. And what else can we talk about Ghana before we jump into your artistry? Was it artistry or
Hmm.
just art? Just art.
Waste me artistry. Art. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. No, art is something that is like people and people talk about art.
Hmm.
They get this. Some people say, they got this like snobbish like I'm a,
An
I love
artist.
art. You're great. Now is it the same way for you or how does that work?
Not at all. Not at all. So it depends. There, with every culture that is there in terms of subculture. So I
Mhm.
guess what I'm familiar with is art. There are divisions. So there are the elitists. There's the those in the middle class, and then there's the everyday people trying a new thing. And there are those that are like, I don't even know what's going on. It looks like a splash of nothing to me. So I guess I don't know what goes on with the elites. But for me, art is just a way of expressing yourself. So um, that's that's the bulk of what I could say.
Speaking of art, that's
Mhm.
a beautiful dress or outfit you're wearing right now. Does that speak for your type of art as well? And just
No, actually, my mom, my mom actually got me this when she came to visit. So it's called so Nigerians call it Ankara, which is actually carried on. A lot of people see African cloths and they call it Ankara, but Ghanaians call it Ntoma. So it's just a
Mhm.
piece of cloth that has print on it, and then we weave it into or sew it up into different outfits. So yes,
But it looks very beautiful.
thank
And
you.
is that a necklace or that's part of
No,
the
it's part
outfit?
of it.
Most of it.
It's part of
Well,
it. Yeah.
see what I mean? So that's art itself. That's off the chains, man.
Thank you.
No pun intended.
I just got that.
Never mind me and my corniness, Grace. Let's get into your art.
Okay.
So, like, how did you get into art?
How do I say this? How did I get into art? Art has been a part of me for a very long time. As far as I can remember, I was told by my parents that one of the very few ways to shut me up as a child was either give me crayons or give me a book. Those two. Um, so that was what I was told. I don't know the truth in that, but from my recollection, from what I can remember, I've been in love with art for as long as I remember. I remember in primary school, as we will call it back home.
Oh, we
Um,
call it that too.
yeah, primary school. Um, in class, most of our classes or like subjects that we had, we always had to do a diagram of some drawing of some sort for marks. And I remember I used to hustle in those days. I remember I used to draw so well that people will actually pay me to do their assignments for them so that their work will also look very good. But it wasn't really about the money. It was more about the joy of just creating and painting and drawing and sketching.
Hmm.
It really started off with clothes. I love clothes and I love designing clothes. So initially it was I started designing clothes that I could wear,
Hmm.
colorful, vibrant stuff. And in the back, I was always painting or sketching or tracing things that I could put in my room or like do it for friends and do it for little pocket money to buy little chips after school. But really, things took off for me when I came to Canada and I realized all the games and play about art, people were actually taking it seriously out here. When I came to Canada, I was in, I guess, grade 8. And I think one of my classes was an art class, and I was blown away by all the resources and like the things that I could use to create. And I just fell deeper and deeper into that. And by the time I was done with university, I had a whole collection of artwork that I couldn't actually get rid of. And university, I got to meet more people. And through Black History Month and other events, I got to showcase some of my work. And that's where a lot of people were telling me, oh, you could do this, you could do that. And I started experimenting more with my artwork. And now it's a whole artistry. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's beautiful. Now, do you
Thank
still
you.
keep any of your art from primary school or from that time, from that era, or
Sadly,
what?
no.
That
Sadly,
those
no.
pieces could, sell for a lot of money right now. Who knows?
Yeah,
What do
yeah.
you think of it?
I when I go back home, I would definitely go look for. I'll go and look for that.
Yes, yes. Well, I say good luck to you with that, finding them, because I know parents sometimes can keep your stuff for a very long time.
Mhm.
So
I'll see. I'll see if I can find them. Now you got me thinking. It's on my to-do
yeah,
list.
yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, you should ask her. Ask Mama, like, if she still has those pieces of paintings that you did, or trace, or drawings, or whatever, right?
My mom, I don't think will be the right person to ask. I'll ask some of my cousins though.
Oh man. So university. So
Yes.
tell me something about university, because you're an artist, and going to
Hmm.
university. What did you study in university?
I studied social sciences with a double minor in theater and women's studies. So I actually went to university as undecided. I went into university when I was 17 years old. I was still pretty fresh-ish in Canada, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. So initially, I wanted to go into fashion or arts.
Mhm.
And I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but coming from an African home where you're expected to be a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher
Lawyer.
or a scientist,
Got to work in the bank or
yes,
work as a lawyer.
yes, something with name and stature, And going off to my dad, I'm like, hey, I want to be an artist. Like, nope, I'm not paying money for that. So I went into university undecided, and I wanted to kind of see what else I was good at. Initially, I knew I was always good at helping people. Back home, I used to help. Even when I came to Canada, I used to volunteer a lot through high school. So
Mhm.
I always knew I wanted to help people. I just didn't know exactly where I would fit in. So in studying social sciences as a feminist, they actually really aligned with who I am, aside from being an artist. So yeah,
Mhm.
I went to school to become. Now I'm studying to become a social worker. So still
Oh, cool,
studying.
cool. So let me tell you guys something, because when I first met Grace,
Mhm.
I was pretty much hustling myself, and trying to find a nice home, as in job, and
Mhm.
I landed at a business, and I met Grace. And I quickly realized that Grace is very, not only very smart, obviously intelligent, but also very quick to find things out, and very quick to key into things that people don't always see. So that's initially where I met Grace, and it's such a small world, because here we are again, meeting, and then lo and behold, we met in a different scenario afterwards. So I keep telling people, this community called the world is very small. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'll tell you one story that I heard from one guy from Barbados, and he said, you know, he went on vacation to Africa. To he went to a couple of 2 or 3 countries, and lo and behold, he was walking down a market, and he saw someone that he know from Barbados who was in the same area.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. Like this world is very small.
Very
People seem to
small.
think is big, and yes, it is big. But
But
you know, we see people all the time that we
mm-hmm.
know. You know,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
so that's just how just how we are connected. We're all
Mm-hmm.
really connected. You know.
That is true.
Um, yes, it is. It is. So tell me something. What
Mm-hmm.
is like? What's your best work? Where do you get the inspiration or drive to paint a piece of art?
Mm-hmm. It's from different things. I believe in how things intersect and interlocks with each other. So even as a human being, you're not just made of one thing. There are different things that affect your life, the nature versus nurture. So as an artist, I get my inspiration from conversations. I get my inspiration from what is going on around the world. I get my inspiration from social media, which is a very huge thing nowadays, like from images or like photos, but mostly my inspiration, the depth of my inspiration comes from where I'm from, what I can relate to. I'm an African woman. An African Black woman, dark skin, who's from Ghana, who's going through like my intersections normally come from women struggling with the glass ceiling on a whole different level, um, belonging, our strength that a lot of people are not even aware of, our ability to strive, even where people are not even sure that it's even possible. And the core of my strengths and my, let's say, my love for art or where it comes from, it's probably from there. And then it kind of like grows into my society that I live in now. Okay, I am African, but I also live in Canada. How does that relate to me? How does that relate to the people around me? What do I relate to? So most of my older paintings and even my paintings now have to do with the African woman. My paintings rarely showcase a woman of any other color but the African woman. And then I do dabble in abstract, which has to do with my thoughts and how I'm feeling at the moment, or just throwing paint to just release anything that I want to release, like whether it be tension or happiness, whatever it is. So if it's abstract, mostly just releasing energy, and if it's has to do with a subject matter, it has to do with the Black woman.
Wow, wow. Now I gotta say, big up all the dark skinned ladies, beautiful dark skinned ladies. you know,
We out
you know,
here.
it should be a lesson for all the young cats, because the young cats seem to always want to dabble in the lighter skinned women.
Mm.
But I'm just saying, big up all the dark skinned ladies. You guys are beautiful
Thank
and
you.
well loved. Um, where can I go with this? Because I want to talk about more about your art, and
Okay.
let's put your art in front of the show right now
Okay.
tonight. Um, now, speaking of how you do your art, where you get
Hmm.
your inspiration and so forth.
Hmm.
I've often wondered about art, and I've had conversations about art, and apparently art is like a spouse. Some people say they say beauty, and others, like beauty. You know what I mean? Like it's in the eye of the beholder. That's what they
Yes.
say.
Yes.
And it's like, what is art for you, and how do you approach your work from an
Hmm.
artist's view?
Art is therapy for me. From my point of view, it could be different for other people, but art is therapy. And even when I am teaching art, I use it as a form of therapy, whether it be a paint party or any other session. So for me, art is a form of therapy. You need to it. But like what you were saying before, as an artist, but it's like a spouse. It's something that you work towards, you build towards, you live with, and sometimes it actually takes your time from your living spouse. But it's like work, right? You want to make sure that you're doing the best, you put in the best out, and so there's also a piece of you that you're doing. So even sometimes, I remember back when I started painting and actually started selling them, it was hard for me to do that because I felt like it was a piece of me that I was giving to somebody, and majority of the time it was somebody that I did not know. So it's like, how are they just going to just take a piece of me and just leave, kind of thing. But the more I grew and understood what I was doing, I was realizing is a piece of me that is actually going to somebody's home and could be a ray of light in that home. So the releasing of that painting was much more easier than it was when I started selling my work. But art is a means of communicating for me too as well. Communicating with people
Yes.
around me, right? Majority of the time I'll paint something and I know why I painted it, what was behind it. And then when I ask people, they have a whole different kind of feeling or information from it. And I love that kind of communication that I have with people that see my painting, because it's like, wow, this is what I saw, but this is also what another person saw. And it creates a dialogue, right? It's a language. It's
It
like
is.
music. It's almost like it's a universal language. It doesn't matter if I go to Asia or Australia. It's a very well understood language that, people may interpret it different ways, but it's a well understood language across the board. So I love speaking that language. Why not, right? Why not? I use it as a vessel to also reach out to people. The reason why I'm even studying to become a social worker is the end goal is to become art therapist, and I want to be able to use art as a mode to help people. It's not always sitting in front of somebody and actually sharing what is going on, but actually just releasing everything onto a piece of artwork, however way you want to do it, right? And I've had experiences where I've spoken to some kids, or I've seen them actually through art. They've been able to express themselves in a way that they wouldn't have been able to verbally, right?
Right.
So it's a very great medium that I encourage everybody to try. And I always hear people go, "Oh, but I'm not a good artist. I don't know how to paint." Everybody started off as an artist.
That's
Somewhere
right.
along the line, we all decided to go other ways. Some of us just stayed, but it's
I
in
guess some
you.
I guess some people just got better, and some people are just naturally talented, right? Like yourself. Oh, by the way,
Nope.
I mean, let's continue with the conversation. But
Mhm.
I mean, here's some of your beautiful pieces here going up, and I
Thank
I hope
you.
people who are watching can understand the reason why Grace is on the show, because she's such a talented person. You know,
Thank
um,
you.
yes, you really are.
Thank
Um,
you.
just speaking of communication, one thing that I've noticed, and ever since I met you, we were
Mhm.
always able to communicate very well. You have a very good dialogue, and that's one of the good characters or features about you. And
Thank you.
and that's those things type of things go a long way,
Mhm.
especially to communicating with buyers, potential clients, and
Mhm.
so forth, right?
Mhm.
We speak of dialogue, we speak of the art, we speak of
Mhm.
drums, we speak of music, but
Mhm.
you actually communicate very well with people, and that's
Mm.
that's a plus.
Thank you. Thank you.
um, yeah, those are some beautiful pieces right there. I got a few favorites already, but
Okay.
I know there's people out there who probably can look at it, and you know how to hit up Grace, reach out to Grace, and see if there's something there that you want to purchase, or maybe she can even paint something directly to you that speaks
Yes,
to
I
you,
do
right?
commissions, so don't worry. I can actually have a sit down with you and you can tell me exactly what it is that you want. We can come up with a few sketches or practice work and commission work for you. So that is not a problem. It's a
And
way
I
of
know
communicating, so
that's
why
right.
not?
I know in our home we got a beautiful piece already. I'm very excited about it, um, and we'll keep it like that. But
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying. So so Grace do some really amazing things with those paint brushes. Here, let me tell
Thank
you,
you. Thank you.
you really do. I want to ask you this. This is
Mhm.
very important.
Mhm.
Um, I had it written down, but I'll try to remember from the top of my head. And
Okay.
they say in and like movies and stories, and sometimes we see these in the films.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know, artists, sometimes to perform these great creations, they sometimes get high. Like sometimes you see them. I'm glad you found that funny. Or maybe not.
Carry on.
So we sometimes see these movies where artists, they get really high, and
Mm-hmm.
they perform they get these pieces, they create these pieces out of nothing, and they go
Mm-hmm.
into like trances and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they come out with these amazing pieces of art.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you get your high? Like, how do you get your great pieces of art?
Um, Emotions. Emotions.
Mm,
Some of my greatest works were created through emotions. Um, Most people that are closest to me, whenever I say this, like, Grace, this is a lie, but is the truth is I'm actually an introvert and extrovert. So as much as I like to be indoors creating, whenever I do step out, I need to actually come back and recharge, because it's just a little, like, when I do step out, I'm out there, I'm communicating, I'm talking to people. But whenever I come back to my space, I need to recharge. Mine, I would say through emotions. Most of my works that I would say speak to me a lot are from emotions, right? I remember around the time that I was painting the one behind me, there was a lot of talk about the African, I guess the African woman was the subject matter in the West, if that makes sense. In movies and stuff, I think there was a lot of talk about the slaves and why there's so many slave trade movies, and that needs to change. The narrative needs to change. People on social media, there were a lot of people talking about, well, are there any heroines or heroes out there that or stories that are there? And I remember so many conversations were going on about that. You had people in the diaspora trying to share their views. You had people back home trying to express, well, most of our history books have been, destroyed one way or the other, but we still have stories orally that we can also share with people and all that kind of stuff. So the painting behind me, which is called Ya Santua, that I already narrated,
right.
has to do with the woman, has to do with that, because with the conversations that was going on, I wanted to also share my part in it. Like, for me, our stories are never lost, right? It's woven through us. It's woven through the way we walk, through the way we talk, the way we dress. It's just about how we want to express it going forward, right? So I do it through painting. I would say, for me, my high will be through my emotions. Feeding off of information that is out there that I can relate to, and then using that to create something that hopefully will outlive me. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew there was some kind of high somewhere, but I just needed to know where it came from, right?
Yes, emotions,
Like
definitely.
for me, I write a bit of poetry here and
Mm,
there.
nice.
Usually it's personal, but
Mm-hmm.
usually is most of the time is when I'm angry, I'm bothered, and that's
Letting
when
it
I
all
really.
out.
That's right, and that's how I do my poetry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I knew that there had to be something that can
Mm-hmm.
poke that fire. Uh, so Ghana and artists and
Yeah.
are there other Ghanaians here in Toronto that are artists besides yourself that you
Oh,
link up with?
yes, yes.
Mhm.
One of my mentors, actually, Kofi's art, which I actually, after this, I'm gonna actually give him a shout out and tell him to definitely, reach out to you. He is amazing. He's
Wow.
amazing. Amazing. Those are like the words that are just fine. He's amazing. His works are speaks volume, the depth of it. And he's also Guinean, but I think he's lived here all his life. Kofi's art. Yes. His
Wow.
works speaks volume, and it doesn't matter where you see it, it transcends anything. I love his pieces, and I remember seeing his work, and I messaged him right. I'm like, hey, I need a mentor. You're the guy. I don't care what you need to say, but you're hired. And even his persona, when you meet him in person, he's very welcoming. His presence and how he actually walks you through certain things, or how he introduces you to how to talk to people in the art world, or shows you need to go to, or interact people you need to interact with, is he's just amazing all around. So yeah, Kofi. I know he's not Ghanaian. He's actually Nigerian. Komi Olaf. He's actually one of the guys that I actually most of the ones that I follow are guys, which needs the narrative needs to change. They need to be more
That's right.
women out there. But Komi Olaf too, I think he was an architect turned artist, and his art too actually you can tell a whole story from seeing his work, a whole story from seeing his work and the depth of it. I don't know if it's the architecture part mixed with the art is just amazing as well. And I think there's another artist, she's actually not here, but she's in Ghana that I follow, but she does more of walls. Like she takes a whole wall and just paints all over
Wow.
it, and it's just
I would love to see
amazing.
that.
Amazing. So they're out there. They're out there.
Yes.
But for the two, Komi and Kofi, those two I actually follow and talk to as much as I can to get inspiration or like leadership from. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, now for your art, and
Mm-hmm.
because you hear about all these art galleries and all the high end spenders when it
Yes.
comes to art. I would love to know that one day that your work and your pieces are there. I'm not sure if they're there already, but I would love to know that one day they're there.
Mm,
I'm sure with all the movements going on right now, and the Black Lives Matter and all the stuff showing up during
mm-hmm.
this great COVID time, as you mentioned earlier. People will actually open up an eye and
Mm-hmm.
and see outside of their circle and
Mm-hmm.
see some of the beautiful art that you do, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's others as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, do you have any place in particular that you showcase your art, uh, or do you mainly word of mouth right now? How does it get out there?
Mostly word of mouth. My website, my Instagram, Facebook, and word of mouth. The hope is, planning ahead is to
Mhm.
get gallery space and have people come there and also use it as a multifaceted space for people to use as well.
Big up, Hawk. Go ahead.
But
Yes, sir.
yes, for now is word of mouth through my social medias pages, and hopefully in the near future, being able to have a gallery space where people can come to and be able to see art and buy art.
I think that would be a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I think because even for me as a little boy growing up in Barbados,
Mm,
I mean I've seen a lot of artists either being on the street or usually on the street or
mm-hmm,
within stores,
mm-hmm.
small shops.
Yeah.
Usually the art is of what we would describe as African art too as well,
Mm,
even though these guys are from the Caribbean,
mm,
but it all represent very familiar, I'm sure, features and
mm.
looks within the African
Yes.
culture. You
Yes.
know, so I mean, I hope that there will eventually one of those millionaire guys. They got so many basketball players right now who are buying all these art.
Yep.
I'm sure they can hit up a sister and
You know?
and buy a good piece of art. You got Kyle Lowry, the greatest
Yes.
Raptor
Yes.
ever, and
Yes.
you got all these guys who are every one of those guys on the Toronto Raptors is a millionaire. I'm sure they can hook a sister up
That would be nice.
and buy some great art,
That would be
right?
very nice. Sometimes all
Exactly.
you need is that one person, right? You need just that one celebrity to just put your name out there and it's like, whoo. So
That's right, man.
that's the hope.
And and don't get me wrong, because these guys do some really good things within the
Hmm.
community.
They do.
And let's start with the president and CEO. Great man, right?
Yes.
So big up that brother.
Hmm.
So as an artist,
Hmm.
what do you think is required to put you on a completely different level and separate you from other upcoming artists? Or is that even necessary for artists?
To answer the latter, yes, it's necessary.
Mm.
Um, Commitment. You need to be committed and be driven by what you believe in. Most often people start and then they get this idea of money on their mind. Oh, I want to be an artist and make money. If that is your mindset, forget about it. What is your passion? Is this your passion? What message you want to draw across? Who is your target audience and all that kind of stuff, right? So you need to have that drive and you need to be committed. You need to be able to have content. So when, let's say, if Kyle Lowry comes by, you have a portfolio of work that you can show them, right? You need to be um personable, like in terms of speaking to people and stuff, right? A lot of times people are like, oh, my work will speak for itself, but sometimes too you need to be there to speak for your work, no matter how good it looks, right? They need to put the face behind the product. So you need to be able to, it's art is a it's like a career on its own. So how do you put your career first? How do you make sure that your brand stands out from others, right? It's by branding yourself properly, being at events, communicating with people, showing your face at events and promoting your stuff. I was recently looking at one lady that I follow on Instagram in the States. In the States, the ladies artists are doing amazing. I know one that is actually making six figures in art, and it's amazing how they get in. When you see where they started from, literally they go to the streets and they start selling, and then from there they're just, and one started off from the streets in her van, door to door, started doing hosting paint parties, and then now she has 3 or 4 galleries that she's working with
Wow,
within a span
wow,
of like 5 years, right? So her determination, her drive, amazing. But
that's
again,
beautiful to hear.
oh
That's
yes,
really beautiful to hear.
yes,
You know,
yes.
and there's lots of people out there with homes right now.
Mhm,
Everyone wants that nice home where they can
mhm.
have their family sitting in that AC and just relaxing, right?
Yeah.
And listen, if you got a home and you want a piece of art where
Mhm,
when somebody or your friends or family walk
mhm,
in, they
mhm,
can see that piece,
mhm,
right? And who's the person to do that for you? Grace. Right? So, like for example, like the piece behind you, that's
mhm.
that's remarkable. Like
Thank you.
once you see it, you can't forget it.
Mm.
You can't forget it once you see it. Actually, I looked it up today. I looked on the website and Google, and I saw a bunch of your stuff that
Oh,
came up. Right,
nice.
I did, and I saw this. This one stood out, right?
Mm,
But guess what? I remembered it from some time ago.
mm.
I mean, I haven't seen your art in a while since
Yeah.
today, but I remember that. I was wondering, like, where did I? And then, yeah,
Thank
it
you
came
for
back, right?
yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful piece, really it
Yeah.
is,
Thank
and it
you.
really speaks volumes for
Mm.
for the lady that took on that venture to fight off those guys who were trying to colonize a whole city or country, right?
Country. Whole
Wow, that,
continent.
that's yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's some bravery right there, right?
Mhm. It is. It is.
It
It
really
is.
is. Um, so art. Hmm. Now, when you wake up in the morning,
Mhm.
do you think of your next piece, or do you think of something else? What do you as an artist, what do you think? I mean, like when you wake
Uh,
up, or you just got a bunch of responsibilities and you're just like, oh, hey, look, I'm a mama right now, so I don't have time for these brushes.
no, 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 no. I actually think of inspirations. Honestly, I haven't done a big piece of yet, but I have a lot of sketches going on in my head and on paper that I just doodle around. But inspiration. Of late, my inspiration has been my daughter, really, and with everything that's been going on in the news, I've been thinking a lot about that. With the BLM, Black Lives Matter movement that's going on, and more awareness into um, those kind of issues. They've been on my mind every day that I wake up. Even when I don't touch my canvas, I have an idea of what could I possibly paint if I were to. grab paints and start splashing around. So those kind of things come into my mind. As an artist, I don't think there's a day that goes by that you don't think about, oh, this could be a great painting, or oh, I could really try and work my hands on this, or maybe if I do this or that, it could work together. You're always thinking about your next piece that could either speak to you or to speak to somebody else. And of late, those are the things that have been going on in my head. So let's see what I create out of that.
I got an idea. I got
Okay.
I'm not gonna toot my horn and say that I got a great idea, but I have an idea. I don't want to share it with other people right now. So after this
Okay.
conversation, remind me to ask you what my
I
idea
will.
is, and
I
maybe
will.
you can work on that. And I take 5% of the shares.
Why not? But actually, just a couple of days ago, I had two clients reach out to me, and they wanted a painting, but they wanted it commissioned. And as I was saying earlier, I would normally like to speak to people as to what they want. And actually, today when I woke up, that was what I was thinking about. One of them actually narrated exactly what she wanted to be done, but she wasn't quite sure. So she gave me a storyline. This is how I'm feeling. Can you paint something around that would express that? So literally, I've been going through her message and kind of thinking in my head, what can I create out of that piece of information that she's given to me, because it seems very dear to her heart. How do I now illustrate that or portray that onto art, right? So today when I woke up, that was what was on my mind. I wanted to just add that.
Okay, great, great, great. Wow, man. Art, art has come a long way, and art is something that if you go back to because as most people when they talk about Africa, well, let me just start right there, because I was saying most people, but when people talk about Africa, there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people who point towards Egypt and the pyramids and
Mm-hmm.
right. Usually, a lot of people don't put a lot of emphasis on West Africa when it
Mm.
comes to those type of
Mm-hmm.
significant things. Um, but I just want to say that there's a lot of art that's been out there ever since from the ages before us, and this is
Yeah.
how we relate. This is how we knew about things that happened. This is
Yeah.
how we knew how people would look like and how they were
Yes.
structured, and
Yes.
the animals that was around them,
Yes.
and so forth, right?
Yes.
And this is it, and what you're doing is a beautiful thing because
Yeah.
it tells a story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Moving forward from COVID, which my grandmother probably never went through a pandemic, and here I am going through a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And artists like yourself probably can share those experiences, for the future,
Yes.
to show what happened, show
Yes.
the mask,
Yes.
show
I
different.
actually did a painting like that.
Oh, really?
I did.
Wow. I'm pretty sure we'll see a lot more like those.
Yes.
Those are very revealing.
Mm-hmm.
So but now that we've covered some of those things,
Mm-hmm.
like how is your family with this COVID, and how's people back home, and your family, brothers, sisters?
Um,
How's everyone doing?
Adjusting to the new normal, as everybody's calling it, to be honest, making the best of it. I would say people back home are feeling it a bit different. I don't know if, as I remember, I called my mom, like, is COVID even in Ghana right now? Because everybody seems to be going about their business, you know. I think they're dealing with it a little bit much better back home than we are here. In terms of people are just going about their business, really. People are going to weddings, parties, funerals, all of that. Well, about the last part.
Seems like funerals.
Yeah.
Funerals will be the obvious right now.
It's a touchy subject for a lot of people, so I was like, I shouldn't have mentioned that. But
Let's put some
and
brakes
people are,
on there right now.
yes, yes, but people are going about their business. Whereas here, whenever my mom calls, she's like, have you guys been released yet? I'm like, no, we're still in lockdown. We're still,
Really?
waiting, waiting for the government to tell us what to do, because things are, even if you do go out, a lot of things are closed. You cannot really sit in a restaurant to eat per se, right? So they're dealing with it a lot better, I guess, those that are back home than those of us that are in the West. My siblings that are here. Um, so it's everybody's, I guess, yeah, that's they're dealing with it a lot better back home than we are here, and it becomes something that sometimes we laugh about, sometimes we angry about, and sometimes we just talk about it just to release however that we're feeling about the whole thing. So yeah, I
I
think majority of the time we just talk about the different types of vaccines that are going on and stuff like that.
yes.
But yeah, it's a
Is it
good
the same?
conversation starter.
No, speaking of vaccines and stuff like that, is it the same kind of chit chatter with the same type of characters in North America with the vaccines,
Yes,
or is it a different type of vaccine?
same.
The same, same.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's not get into that because
No.
that those like those vaccine conversations can go so
Oh
far.
yes.
They're very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
People
It's a
love talking about
great
them.
conversation starter.
People have been talking about them before they even came out. So
Yeah. Yep.
I really wanted to relate to Ghana.
Mm.
Because I love when I hear about Ghana. I feel so intrigued by some of the things that I hear.
Like what? I would like to hear it.
Well,
I have a big smile on my face.
like I I think I mentioned to you when I first met you that I had met a friend. Well,
Hmm.
became friends. I haven't heard or seen him in a very long time.
Hmm.
COVID probably because of that, and probably because of
Hmm.
other things. But
Yeah.
he would tell me so many stories.
Mm.
And he's a little bit older than I am, but he would tell me so many stories. Either be random stories, or or a story about old men and medium women. Stories that guys like to talk about. But is the it, so Kofi is born on Saturday? Is that what it is, or something like
Kofi
that?
is Friday.
Or Friday? Oh,
Yes.
okay. So those are the kind of stories that I
Yeah.
would hear.
Hmm.
Type of stories, and I love those type of stories. Is there any meaning to your name, or just Grace?
Well, my name is Grace. Yeah. Well, my last name has changed, so it's Grace. Yeah, Mia Asiedu. The Ya means born on Thursday. So in Ghana, we actually name you according to the day of the week that you're born. So let's say you're born on Monday, there's a name for that. Tuesday, I was born on Thursday, so I'm called Ya, Yaa.
Hmm.
And um, my parents, there are a lot of additions to it, but my parents just went with Grace Yamia. My some of my siblings have different names. So my brother is Joseph Kofi. He's also Friday. I have a brother
Hmm.
that is born on Saturday, which is Kwame.
Yes, yes,
And then I
Kwame.
guess different tribes to have a different way of pronouncing them. So even though I'm born on Thursday and my name is Ya, if I was Fanti, it'll be Baba.
Hmm.
So depending on which tribe that you belong to, will be different, but it all allocates to the day of the week that you were born in. And the other things, it's very interesting when you start to learn about the culture and why they name it that
Yes,
way. It's almost
true.
like how when I first came here, I had no idea about zodiac signs, and then I went to class and somebody's like, "Oh, what's your name, Grace? When were you born? December. Oh, so what's your sign?" I'm like, "What sign?" It was quite interesting. So it's almost like how people deal with signs.
Right.
That's is important, I guess. The day of the week that you're born also shows your kind of character that you could have, probably to some extent. So I
Well,
guess that's our
perhaps,
sign. Yeah, yeah, it tells a lot.
perhaps.
Yep.
I think those things are very interesting, and
Hmm.
I think the more we learn about, I mean, and this is all part of the art, because
Yeah.
like people like myself who've been very, like, I'm so caught up with history that
Mm.
I'm always asking questions, weird questions most of the time, to be quite honest. And but sometimes people they understand, and they,
Hmm.
they tell me some stuff, but I'm always asking about places in Africa,
Mm.
and wanting to know more.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much more that I can learn.
Oh yeah.
Um, and the only way I think I can know, like, straightforward, is from the
Hmm.
people.
Yes.
You know, And but sadly, there's a lot of people who are so caught up in the West and so caught up in this lifestyle that they don't even care about. Why do you want to know about Africa? Africa. Why do you want to know? You know,
I
what is
mean,
it for you?
to each their own, right? A lot of people of late, actually, the last 2 years, there was a whole drive of people going back home. I forgot what it's called, but there was a drive where I think there were a lot of even celebrities that were going back to Ghana, like returning to the motherland kind of initiative going on. I think two years ago, 2019.
Yeah,
Yeah, around
around
2019.
20. Yep.
Yeah, and there's a whole project about that where people are trying to go back home, realize where they're from, or like, creating that narrative where, and then there are people that are also don't want anything to do with it. I mean, you can talk to family members or friends of friends. I'd be like, I don't know why people want to come back home. I'm trying to get the next visa to come to the West, and to each their own and what tickles their fancy, really. But for me, I really enjoyed that. Whenever people ask me questions about Ghana or some parts of Africa that I'm aware of, I'm more than willing to share what I know because it fascinates me. I love it. I love sharing about things back home, and I love it when people also can relate to that. Like right now, I remember ever since I was young, I was really interested in South Africa, and then luckily I met my husband, who's also lived in South Africa majority of his life. So I actually moved there for a little bit, and I enjoyed the culture there. It's very different,
South
some
South
similarities.
Africa, you said?
Yes, yes, South Africa. Yeah,
You lived in South Africa for
yeah.
a little
When
while?
I got married, I moved to South Africa for a bit. Yeah.
Oh, and your husband is South African,
He's Ghanaian
you
who's
said, right?
lived in
Oh,
South
Ghanaian. Oh,
Africa.
okay, okay.
Yeah, South Africa
Oh, he
for
lived in
the
South
most of his
Africa.
life. Yes.
Oh,
So it was
well,
interesting
that's
that
beautiful.
change in pace, seeing different things and stuff like that. So as much as yes, I do come from Africa. It was nice. Well, Ghana. It was nice to go to another part of Africa, another country, and see the difference and some of the similarities and the different cultures and all that kind of stuff. So it was interesting, even for me. So
Yes.
I can only imagine what it would be like for somebody that's never been there to kind of experience that for themselves.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, that would be a absolutely beautiful thing. I mean,
Hmm.
just to, like for me, just sitting around and learning from all. You know where I learn all my. Like, I go to YouTube, and you know who educates me about Africa?
Who?
My man Wode Waya.
Who's that?
You don't know Wode Maya?
Who's that?
He's the most famous, most popular um vlogger on YouTube, and he
Oh,
goes
I
around
have to look.
he goes around the continent of Africa, and he promotes Africa, and he just touches everything. He
Is
speaks
he the
Chinese.
guy that goes to shows people like the Africa they don't show you kind of situation? Like he shows you buildings and things like that, or
No, he
no?
gets right into the meat of it. He goes right. He
Oh,
talks with people. He usually hooks up with somebody from the different countries or
okay,
different cities, and then they talk about the culture, talk about what people do in these areas.
okay,
I mean, Sudan, Nigeria.
nice.
He's Ghanaian, so obviously that's he all around. I believe he was a student in China at
Oh,
some point.
nice.
He speaks Chinese. As far as I know, he had a Chinese girlfriend, and but now he's just a guy. So,
Oh, okay.
but
What
but
Maya?
he's
Okay.
yeah, he's very popular.
I'll look him
Good
up.
personality as I see it.
Mm-hmm.
But he just goes around. I don't know how he does it. Um, but he gets around all around Africa. And he shows you all these different places.
Mm-hmm. I guess when there's a
Rwanda,
means, when
all
there's
these other
a
places.
yeah, I guess when there's a will, there's a way. So if that's what he wants to do, there will definitely be avenues in which he can just tap into or like be able to do that. So kudos to him. I'll actually
Yeah,
look him up. I'll look him up.
yeah, do it. Yeah, I mean, even Somalia. I remember he was saying that they were saying don't go to Somalia. That's why he was saying they were telling him, but he went, and it was pretty cool. It was dusty,
Nice.
but it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when they tell you not to go to some place and you go. It's
No, but
yeah.
it's pretty cool just to for him to have that video and to
Mm-hmm.
go around and showcase these
Mm-hmm.
places is a beautiful thing. And that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. Like during this COVID period, there's so much positive besides the positive tests that are coming out of the COVID
Yeah.
19, right? And
Yeah.
through this pandemic, right?
Yeah.
People are finding themselves. People are
Mhm.
figuring out who they are. People are figuring out that there's more and more and more out there.
Mhm.
For people to explore, and
Yeah.
it's great,
Yeah.
like you said earlier, people talk about the COVID, obvious, the deaths and stuff like that, but there's a lot of positivity. You know what I think it is, Grace?
What?
I see it as like, in every era, people find ways of doing things. They
Mhm.
change a narrative.
Yes.
They change their surroundings.
Yes.
You can even change the look of your surroundings, like your home
Yes.
or whatever, right?
Yes.
Right now, it might be changing, like, the way how the money works.
Mhm.
You go from dollar bills into, you know, you're not even touching it no more, right?
Mhm.
Right? So
Yeah.
so these are things that, big up Sarah Adams. Yes, Grace is awesome. She really is.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. But as you said, though, it's changing the narrative a lot. I mean, after this, whenever this decides to kind of slow down, it normal is going to be different, right? I read somewhere today and actually had a little giggle out of it, and it was talking about how, if we keep wearing face masks for the next 10 years, kids growing up are going to think mouths are private parts, and I was like, what? And just that alone is like, it changes everything, right? What was normal before we started wearing masks is going to be different. Kids growing up now are actually very used to seeing people with masks. It doesn't
That's
scare
right.
them. It's like,
You're a
to
little
them
one.
that's normal. Yes, it's very normal to her.
Yes,
When we step up and we put a face mask, she doesn't scream or go, "Oh, who's behind that?" She knows who's behind that. It doesn't bother her, right? So that's a new normal that people can either choose to get used to it and adapt to it, or you're going to fall behind. And that goes for people in businesses, small businesses, or building a brand and everything. This really taught a lot of people how to use technology. It was kind of like a head start to, hey, you need to know how to learn how to use technology. As an artist who does paint parties, as myself, it was in the beginning, I was like, I remember I had a lot of gigs that required me to be there in person. And when this started, I got a lot of emails about, hey, I'm sorry we had to cancel, blah, blah, blah. And my initial thought was, oh, how are artists going to be able to survive if you're a full time artist with COVID going on? But as time went on, I realized, no, there are ways to go about it. How can I still be useful or be able to help people through art therapy or even through sales without actually being there? And I realized there are online resources that you can use. There's Zoom to do host parties. I've hosted some paint parties on Zoom. Even Google
Google Meet.
Google Meet. And I mean, it works out very well. It's different, but it still works out. People are even doing a paint party in a box where you get all the supplies in a box, and then when you're ready to host your party, sometimes you're not even there. It's just a YouTube link. You learn everything, and by the time the hour or 3 hours is done, the link fades away. People are finding innovative ways to keep going. So when something like this happens, it's always okay. Something this has happened. How do I use it to be better, or else just fall back and do something else, right? And majority of us want to just keep pushing. Especially for me, it's about what I want to provide for people. And people still need help during COVID. People still need some form of therapy during COVID. So why not provide art as a form of therapy without actually being there and still assisting people through that, right? So always thinking ahead, okay, this is happening, how can I do better? This is happening, how can I do better? And hopefully, if people can also take that as a lesson and also use that to build themselves, being aware of your surrounding and watching what is going on. Okay, what's the new thing that people are doing? How does that fit into my scope of work? And you just adapt to it and just keep it going, right? So yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. With ideas and thoughts like that. And one of the things, like for yourself, just having a really good heart. Like you just exposing your heart to people, let people know who you are, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what this show really is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I say this all the time because I've had some quite a few guests now on the on the show, but
Yeah.
when I started doing this show, I was really bored during last year, and we did it on online radio,
Mm.
and thanks to my beautiful wife, she suggested, let's not, why don't you take it to a different platform, young man? And I was like, okay, I'll follow your lead. You tell me, you direct me,
Mm-hmm.
Captain. Aye. And, you know, the thing is, look, I say, look, how can I be productive? How can I um, help? How can
Mm-hmm.
I do something that makes me feel like I'm helping and not being negative?
Yeah.
So during a period like this, I say let's just do this, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
great opportunity for persons like yourself, for
Mm-hmm.
others,
Mm-hmm.
just to have a wider audience. I
Yes.
mean, even the biggest stars, they always take opportunity of the next thing
Yes.
because you don't know who's watching, right?
Yes.
So absolutely, COVID has definitely taught us to really use the tools that are
Mm-hmm.
provided for us.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely right because there's a lot of people who would not touch a computer. Now they have to.
Yes.
Now they're starting to more and more.
Mm-hmm.
They had their phones, but they thought phones were for making phone calls.
I can
Now
see it's
they're using
versatile,
it,
right?
right?
Yep. Yep.
Exactly. So this is one of the beautiful things about during this time right now is a time for learning, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody told me it's a great time to learn a lot of stuff too, and I'm
Yeah.
taking that opportunity. You never know what's around the corner, right?
That's true.
Some people want things to go back the same way that it was before, and unfortunately, it probably isn't.
No.
You're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you gotta move forward,
Yep.
step it up, learn some stuff. Now I know
Mm-hmm.
it's almost time for your nap because in a few more hours you'll be up again when that little one starts to
Yeah.
cry and so forth. But I want us to put up some put Grace art up again and put up her where we can reach Grace so that viewers and people who are logging on can see her great work. And I'm hoping that my technical director is right there and she didn't actually fall off into snooze land.
Let's hope.
Hey, let's hope. I'm glad we can laugh about that. And yeah, there's some beautiful stuff, man. Really beautiful.
Thank you.
Um, Look at that. Like, where'd you come up with the lips one? The one with the lips?
Which one? The one with the colorful lips?
Yeah.
I went through a phase or a young era where I was actually really obsessed with lips. And somebody actually asked me like, why lips? And I'm like, well, it's almost like the gateway in which things come out of, right?
Hmm.
Get our lip what comes out of our mouth says a lot about us or what we put out to the world.
Right.
And I wanted things that I say to have meaning, to be colorful, to have impact. And to some, it may be like, oh, those are lips or teeth. Oh, nice. But to me, that was what it was speaking to. Like, okay, whatever that comes out of you should bring life, should be colorful, should impact somebody one way or the other, and it should be beautiful. So I went through an era where lips were a thing for me, and that was the meaning behind that actual painting there.
I definitely agree. Are you an artist who is really particular with your paint and your brushes and all that stuff too as well? Or what do you
Um,
paint with? Because some people use like sponges and stuff like that too.
Oh, I do experiment, but mostly I paint with acrylic. I work best with acrylic. I've
Oh
tested some of the
wow!
mediums.
Pause
So
it right
most of
there.
these are, pardon me?
No, no. I mean the going up with the art. I would say pause it right there.
Oh,
Go ahead,
okay.
but I want to ask you a question about this
No
about one of them.
problem. I mostly work with acrylic, and sometimes I do dabble with mixed medium. So even the one behind me has some glitter in it.
Hmm.
and some a bit 3D to it and stuff like that. I try to mess with as much as I can, but I mostly work with acrylics. If I'm working on subject matter, I try to make it be as smooth as possible. But when I'm working with abstract, I try to give it some depth and some texture. So
Hmm.
depending on what I'm working with, but I mostly work with acrylics and some mixed media here and there.
Now that this piece right here, that she's the fingers pointing at,
Yes.
that really stands out. Have you been ever been told about that before? Because that really stands out.
I love that piece. It's actually inspired by a photo shoot that I saw, and I was mesmerized by the facial features in it because it speaks volume on its own, right? And I was working on it's part of a three piece, so it's a three purple. It has that deep hued purple ladies, a three piece.
Hmm.
It can be sold separately or bought together, and I really like the expression because it for me it's just screaming out loud, but it could mean something else to somebody else. But people have different interpretation. What do you see? I love asking that question. What do you see in that
Well,
piece?
for me, the kind of, for me, I'm I'm like this. I don't know. For me, I like the rawness of
Mm-hmm.
some of these paintings. I like a lot of times people like like Photoshop stuff. I mean, in life, like
Mm-hmm.
Photoshop things. Like I like real rawness. Oh, gee, somebody might take that out of context, but I mean, I like the realness of people.
Yeah.
And to me, this tells me a real person. Um, and for some reason, this stands out to me. It just it, it seems normal,
Mm-hmm.
and I like that about art, and I like that about how you painted this. It
Yeah.
seems real.
Right.
Sometimes you get art that is like, people splash the paint on the walls and stuff, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure it looks good to people. But
Mm-hmm.
I do like realness. Even for
Mm-hmm.
me, like even like movies, I like real movie that tells real
The
stories.
stories,
That
yes.
that's how I look at life. Now, can we see a little bit more so we can just talk a little bit more about some of your pieces, because I really do like a lot of these. Oh, oh my! Look at that one now with the hickey in the neck, and the one that I was telling my wife earlier, the one I really like the most is the one with the market. Um, I
Yes.
really do like I
The
love
black
that
owned
one.
market. I love that
Yes,
one too, really.
yeah, I do.
I was telling my mom when she came by, and I'm like, "Hey, doesn't it remind you of the market back home?" And she's like,
Yes,
"Which back home?" Almost like, "How dare you?" But I really love it. I love
yes.
that piece a lot. It's almost you can almost hear the noise that is going on in there. Like,
Yes, yes, it feels so real. It
mm,
reminds me so much of how in Barbados as well, with
mm,
the people and the stalls and the
mm-hmm.
on the side of the street, the hustle
Yeah,
bustle, the colors, very
yeah.
very colorful. I love
Yeah, the
that.
streets, the cars, the people, we're all one. There's no road, there's no street. Everybody's all together in one spot. I love it. Thank you.
It's very beautiful. Let's show one more, and then we'll move on. But scroll and see if we can see any more of Grace's beautiful art. Um, it's very beautiful stuff that Grace has going on here. Um, that one right here too, the one with the dreadlocks, or the head tie. Uh, that one, yeah, that's pretty cool too. It just shows a real person as well for me. So,
Mm.
you know, well, I guess I got a little thing for dreadlocks. I don't know, even though I'm a bald head, but
You love what you love.
yes, but those type of paintings, they're the ones that stands out the most for me.
Okay.
The real stuff. And I hope that one day we can get to come to one of your galleries where we can just do all the whole bougie stuff as well.
With some wine and some cheese.
That's right. And we can talk all fancy. Put on my suit and come down there and pick a piece out
Mm.
of your beautiful art. Um, So guys, I just want to remind you we're talking here with Grace Miah. Grace is one of the outstanding young artists from Toronto, originally from Ghana, um, and she's a brilliant artist. Studied here in Canada, um, cultivated her art in Ghana during primary school, and hopefully she still has some of those paintings that she had as a youngster. Uh, I would love to see those and what they look like. I'm pretty sure they can sell for a buck or two. You know what I mean? You never
Yeah.
know.
Never know. But I will go look for them when I do go back home, though.
Yeah, and again, I want to shout out your husband just for allowing you to spend this time with us. Uh, I know it's getting to primer time right now. So, uh, is there anything else you want to add, or you want to, or showcase before we um, end it pretty soon?
Um, I'll just say if with I have my information that are being posted up there. I host paint parties for children and adults. I also do commission work. I with what is going on now with COVID, I do online paint parties. So paint in a box, send it over to you, and then we log in at your appointed time, and then we have a paint party virtually, which actually works out sometimes too, because you could be in your PJs, nobody there to disturb you, and it's pretty cool. So I do those as well. I do commissions. So if you want a piece for your office space that you have an idea of, definitely reach out to me. Let's talk, let's vibe, let's talk about your ideas and create things together. So I'm looking forward to working with people, meeting people, chatting with people.
And I'm pretty sure when we get that big house, we're going to have one of your bigger pieces than what we
Yeah.
have right now, just in my little space. And
Looking forward to
you'll be
that.
showcasing that. So once again, Grace, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
And I hope hopefully we can do this again in the future, and
Yes.
hopefully we can have other artists besides the musical artists. We can have other artists on as well. Grace,
Hmm.
again, thank you. It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
I'm looking forward to seeing lots and lots of your great work out there, and I hopefully one day Kyle Lowry or Masai will shout you out. Right?
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime, sis. So there you guys, you have it. That was Grace Miah. She's an artist, showcasing all her stuff or her talent, um, doing some amazing things with that paintbrush and the paints. And if you guys want to reach out to her, you know where to reach her. You can also review the show on YouTube, or you can just go to one of her handles and just reach out to her directly. Amazing stuff, man. I think each and every one of you should have a piece out there. Why not? Support this youngster. She's doing some really amazing things. So talented, man. And I'm sure there are many of you out there who are talented as well. And if you know anyone else who's talented or just as talented as Grace in that in that way, just kind of reach out to me, and we'll be able to talk with them. Okay, so that's it. Good night.